Hello. Now we're going to talk about atomic molecular spectrum. This is the lab, part B, the flame test. And here's our raw data. Let's analyze this data. Open up your Logger Pro file. I name mine Atomic Molecular Spectrum Part B. And what you'll notice is the spectrum from the burner. And then down on the bottom are some lines. We see a few bumps, but not really something we can analyze in depth. So what we're going to do is modify the graph. First thing first, click on Auto Scale, the big A on the top menu bar. And now we have a lot of lines and a lot of peaks, and their various colors. Now, what did we do during the experiment? Well, what I'm doing is back over here in the data table under latest, I double clicked, and if you recall, that first part was just the Bunsen burner itself. So I'm renaming latest to be burner. And that will do for that data set. Run 1, if you recall, I'm back to the data set. I arrowed over on the bottom, double click on run 1, and that was lithium, LiCl, lithium chloride. So when I double clicked under the name, type lithium and click OK. Following the steps of the experiment, in run 3, back to I arrowed over under the data set, run 3, I'm renaming that sodium chloride and clicking OK. Scrolling over on the bottom, run 4, double click on run 4. This was potassium chloride and clicking OK. Next, run 5 was, I arrowed over, double clicked on run 5. Now I'm typing magnesium chloride. We know the formula has a subscript of 2, not real easy to do that, so I just typed MgCl2, click OK. Arrowing over on the bottom again to run 6. Run 6 was calcium, CaCl, again subscript 2 in the data set options name box and clicking OK. Arrowing over under run 7. The last one we tested in that was relevant to the lab was strontium chloride. Clicking OK. But then we threw in a bonus. We said we had to run the cupric chloride. So we threw that extra little piece in and click OK. Well, that didn't seem to change much here on the graph until we go to click on the y-axis. When we double click on the y-axis, I'm going to go down to more. Highlighting more, what do we want to see? Well, we see everything. We see everything here. And we have all of these. What it says here is what's chosen is burner, and we have the intensity. We have the lithium chloride in the intensity. And again, all of those are on the graph. What we need to do is just examine one at a time. And so what we want to do is click these off. So I am clicking off all but the lithium chloride. And so what we will then see here, and what I mean by clicking off, I am scrolling down under, for example, I'm up to strontium chloride under intensity. Just click the check mark next to intensity. When I click OK now, I only have the one peak. And that's perfect, because then I can examine for our lithium. Actually, there were a couple peaks there. I can examine just what wavelength does that absorb at. And that's the data that's relevant to the lab. You need to remember these numbers, record them, and what they wanted to know is the wavelength of max absorption. So we can actually even change the y-axis and click on, we can actually look at the y-axis, and we can see that the absorption down on the y-axis record the wavelength values. Going back, clicking on the y-axis under More, click off lithium chloride and click on sodium chloride and intensity. And then we will get our numbers to record. Under intensity, under More, click off sodium chloride. Let's go to magnesium chloride. Just to show you how to make sure you scroll down, click on intensity. Like I said, make sure you have the others clicked off. And you can see there wasn't as much of a big peak for this one. Our next, and again, the nice surprise one, just to show you that yes, everything was working well, was our cupric chloride. And again, here's the wavelength, but again, that's not the one we need for the data, so you will need to make sure you find all the other ones. Now, before what do I actually want you to do to fix this graph before you turn it in or submit it? What we do want is, we do want the intensities of all of these. That I will understand here that, so you can go back and click the intensity on each of your compounds, which is actually your atoms that we're measuring here, because the chloride was just a vehicle to bring in that ion element. So this is what I would like you to submit for the final graph. That would have again, we don't need the cupric chloride, would have all of our wavelengths again. Every graph needs a title. You can name this AtomicMolecular Spectrum Part B, and since we already had a Part B, you might want to label this Finished. This is my so you will keep it separate from your other one. And again, what else I would like you to do is, again, what I did was just double click on the graph to get the graph near the title region to get this graph options up. Then please click on Legend. Underneath Examine, click on Legend and click Done. And again, that would give us the opportunity then to see all these our various data here. Okay, so again, make sure you file and save as, and again, you may want to give this file save as a name also that's slightly different from your raw data. This could again be finished. Okay, and click Save.